Good morning. It's Saturday, June 6th, 2026. My name is Terry Morgan, and we are here to practice Wudang Qigong. I have the teaching sets this morning, and what we're working on right now is set 3, Wild Goose Flying. It uses the back, and it asks us to join together the upper and lower body. And don't trip over the rug. Let's do just a little bit right now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about this idea of how to teach this set versus what I did yesterday, which was how to study and practice this set. Feet about shoulder width apart, pull up through the back, pull up through the center. Pay attention to the Huiyin at the base of the torso. Pay attention to the Bai Hui at the crown of the head. So pull up, open the hip, separate the waist, hands down at your sides. Breathe in, relax, and breathe out. Breathe in, both palms come up along both sides of the front of the body. And press down, sink, settle into the legs. Sit back just a little. Breathe in again. And down. Hands separate, come up along both sides of the body. And down toward the knees. You're going for the knees. Pull up. Both arms open. Raise the heels just slightly and settle. Do it again. Up along both sides. Sink down. Both hands extend up and out. And settle. Palms up along the front, down along both sides, press down, pull up through the crown of the head, raise the heels slightly, and lower. Stay there, breathe in, breathe out. In presenting this, it made more sense to me to show the exercise first. I've given several classes where I talk about what we're going to do. So you have some explanation, and then we do it. In this class, I gave a lot of that explanation yesterday. I'm going to repeat a lot of it today with the idea that this is the perspective of the teacher, not the student. For this exercise, understanding how it moves matters. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and just show a set, and then we'll talk about it. In this set, this opening has more to it, like everything else, right? As we open, both lao gong should be active, the centers and the palms. So this is outward. There's energy. And there could be force. Ouch. That's not what we're paying attention to right now, but that exists. And in Tai Chi applications, we have that. Single whip. That's part of what this hand is doing. Right? So we pay attention to the dynamic of the movement. This is open. And notice that my arms are round. Not here. It's not this. No. Open. That, and some of that is paying attention to the whole movement. So the whole movement here comes up. Notice my wrist sits down. I'm just doing the arms here. Open and down. That dynamic comes from, and I talked about this yesterday, it comes from a bird. Wild goose flying. Have you ever seen one of the big wild geese that I have? They come here. They do. Winter quarters for some birds. That large bird flying right here through the center of my back and all the way up. So from here, between my two hands, this whole area of the back needs to open. And it comes from the muscles underneath the shoulder blades that pull the arms open. Notice that I'm not, and I talked about this yesterday, these muscles up here, if I just raise my arm here, that's pretty much all that I'm using. This little bit right here, pull, arm goes up. That's the physics behind it. For this, I want the back to open. It's not just my arm. My arm goes up because I open my back. Right? And the lift here comes from underneath. So as we extend out and pull up, I didn't have to do that on purpose. Let me say this in another way. Just now, as I went up, I was not doing that intentionally. Raise and lower. That's the exercise. That reflex is something that we want to develop. In this set, the upper body and the lower body are connected and should be working together. Show this a little bit. It's possible. Not right, but it's possible. I have to think about this for a minute, because I'm going to do this in an uncoordinated fashion. Okay? I'm going to, so what I should do, breathe in, breathe out, sink, open, and settle. Right? Breathe in, breathe out, sink, arms up, down, close. No. There's no continuity, the movements aren't connected, and the idea that the whole body is connected, and particularly that we're paying attention to the upper body and the lower body in this set. No. The breath coordinates well with the movement. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. That quiet coordination matters. How to develop that? Student doesn't know. I've been working at it for a while, right? How do I do that? What's the, I can see it. It's not a complicated movement. It's not particularly complicated. What's the key? The breath and the up and down and the idea of opening and closing. That's it. The particular details for the movement, we have to pay attention to those. What are we doing here? What's going on with this? Why pay attention to this or that? But the simple version, upper and lower body, connect the breath. In pushing the mountain, set 2. We're working on the connection between the lagom and the palms, the yongchuan in the base of the ball of the foot, the jiao and heel, and the lower dantian. We want to open the back, especially the Ming Men here, right? So we can develop that upper and lower connection. If the Ming Men in the lower back is not open, the qi cannot flow through the small heavenly circle. Qi cannot flow through the small heavenly circle. It's stuck. It gets stuck. That's why I talked about this. No. No. Yes. Keeping the spine straight and supple is part of how we develop that upper and lower body connection. That's where the attachment is. Your physiology, your hips are attached to your spine. Your shoulder girdle and your rib cage are attached to your spine. There's space in between. This is your waist, right? There's space in between here. Use it. Pull up, right? As the arms open, the shoulders drop. So, no. And the arms open from underneath. So this part of the shoulder stays down. It doesn't need to go anywhere. It doesn't need to do anything. No. That looks very uncomfortable, doesn't it? My shoulders all the way up to my chin and my head's leaning back and my arms are, no, that looks really uncomfortable. That is one of the things that the teacher has to absolutely pay attention to. Now, I just exaggerated that. I had my shoulders up to my ears and my hands were in the wrong place, and it was bad. That was a bad posture. What's wrong with what I'm doing? What's wrong with what I'm doing? There's a list. Hey, my arms are not open. My hands are not extended. My chest was sunk too far down. I was looking down, so there was no possibility for this clear alignment between the Bai Hui and the Huiyin. There's no possibility for that. Just the same as if you're leaning forward, there's no good possibility. Or drop down here. This can't work. The diaphragm has to stay open so that you can breathe. That breath work is both physical and internal. As we pay more attention to how we breathe, this is good exercise for this. Opening the ribs is one of the things that we need to do. Breath does not come from here. It comes from here, lower Dantian, through the work of the diaphragm and the lungs in the back. Opening the ribs is like a bellows, open and close, is what we have to learn how to do. We do it intentionally, we do it deliberately, particularly in Qigong class. That's breathing exercises. All of the other practices, Bagua, Tai Chi, Xingyi, Sword, everything else relies on this ability to breathe fully, to extend the physical breath through the body, to extend the qi through the body, to extend the energy through the body, and to keep the body relaxed while we're moving. Lots of things to pay attention to. Each of these Qigong sets, and we're going to do set 3 again here in just a second. Each of these sets pays attention to particular points, particular channels and meridians. In set 3, Wild Goose Flying, we're paying attention to the connection between the upper and the lower, the Bai Hui and the Hui, and I've mentioned these several times in this set. Also, the Lao Gong in the palms and the Yung Chuan in the ball of the foot. As we raise up, this is not, oh, nope. And it's not that up hard drop. It's and lower, raise and lower. That up and down is the focus. Open the arms, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, smile, pull up through the crown of the head, relax the breath, breathe in, palms up, breathe out, press down. Both hands separate, up along both sides, breathe in, and down along both sides to the knees, breathe out. Breathe in, fingertips extended and down, fingertips up, set the wrist. Breathe in, breathe out. And breathe in, open the back, set the wrist and down. And breathe in, breathe out. Open the back and down. One more, breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Palms up along the front. Separate. Press down along both sides. Pull up through the crown of the head. Raise the heels and lower. Stay there. Breathe in. And breathe out. Relax. The connections and the skill to develop them. Practice, time, and correct instruction. What should I be doing? What should I not be doing? Allowing time for the student to develop the skill. At the same time, not allowing the student to continually repeat the same mistakes. What point do you step in as a teacher? Where do you say, well, they need to practice, they need to work this out? Yeah, but if the student shows that they understand what they should be doing, maybe not quite there yet, but they understand what they should be doing. You can see them working at it. You can see the person working at it. You can see them trying. You can see the kind of effort that they're making. You can. If it's the kind of effort that will get them there, let it go. Let them keep going. Look at what they're doing. Find something in particular, maybe some small thing. Find something in particular that they are doing correctly. May not be good, but it's correct. Tell them, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. How to make it better? Next step. That's the next step. When the student understands that what they're doing is correct, they can build on it. I've talked about this a couple of different times. If all you ever do is tell the student, no, that's wrong, the student will never develop any kind of internal compass to gauge whether or not they're doing something correctly. And as they progress, whether or not they're doing something well. How do you decide that? How do you judge? I was a competition judge for 15 years at the international level. I know a few things. Look closely at the small things the student is doing. Is that what they should be doing? If it is, make sure they know it. If it's not, the teacher has to decide. Is this something that needs to be corrected now? Is this something that appears to be today? The person's just not, it's just off a little bit today. I have my moments. I do. Right? What is the cause? What's going on? What's really going on? That's the first question. Does it look like they know what they're doing? They just need to work on it? Does it look like they don't know what they're doing and they're trying to do something they shouldn't be doing? Or one or the other? How much of a correction is that student in need of? How much of a correction are they able to take? More advanced student? What are you doing? I look at a more advanced student and I will say directly, what was that? What were you thinking? That was, oh yeah, well, it was bad. For an advanced student, as a teacher, that's going to be my response. What are you doing? For a beginning student, in this set, we really need to pay attention to this particular aspect of the movement. Not leaning. Because the beginning student doesn't know. So am I calling him out and saying, hey, what are you doing? I don't know. My advanced student needs to know. My advanced student knows better. Right? This person doesn't. They haven't learned yet. That distinction makes a huge difference in class, it makes a huge difference in the ability of the person to pick up what it is they should be paying attention to. If the teacher only ever criticizes, student never learns what they're doing right. Not really. If the teacher only ever says, oh, that's fine, it's perfect, go ahead, keep going, it's wonderful, isn't it? The student's never going to learn what's wrong. They're never going to learn how to make the corrections. That is what the teacher should be teaching. That's good. Do that again. Reinforce what's correct. No, that's not quite right. We need to pay attention to something else over here. Make the changes. And being able to see both and to be able to judge the student's response. I can't begin to remember how many times I went to China looking for criticism. I wanted to know what I was doing wrong. I was practicing on my own. I thought, well, that's all right. This is okay. I'm not sure. I got a question about this move. Last time I studied, I didn't take as good a notes as I should have, and I'm now a little confused. What do I do with this? What's the application for that? And sometimes I got a clear answer. Sometimes Professor Liu just asked me to show him what I was doing and said it was good. I was looking for more criticism, actually, because for me, this is for me, understanding what I've missed, understanding what's not quite right at my level. Okay, this is me at my level now. Okay? Understanding what's not quite right is where my focus is. I know what I've done well. I do a lot of things reasonably well. I do. That doesn't help me. Not anymore. It did at one time, because I had to develop that understanding. I didn't know if I was any good or not. Some other people thought I was okay, right? With competition, awards, certificates, trophies, all of the things that I used to test myself and to find out, is this any good? What I'm doing am I doing any good? Do other people think that this is good? Feels pretty good to me. Teacher says it's okay. He's happy with it. Well, yeah, first place. Yeah, I guess I did good. That measure is something that I looked for. And as I was saying, at this point in my practice, I look more at the things that I'm not doing well. I'll take the win. I have taught many classes where I was showing something and I just hit exactly what I needed to do, exactly the way that it should be done. And it felt really good. And I talk about that as if you're practicing and you hit everything and it really feels good, take the win. Congratulate yourself. Breathe in. Breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. The set. Well done. It was well done. I was well done. Could I do more? I could. Several things that I could pay more attention to. I could pay more attention to that separation in the upper back as my arms extend. I could pay more attention to holding through the lower abs as I come up. So this should pull in. I could pay more attention to that. The rib cage should pull in as I come up. I could pay more attention to that. I could. But what I did was fine. That's a distinction that the teacher needs to make. This is good. Here are the points to pay attention to for that exercise. Reminding the student, not criticizing. Criticizing is you've done something wrong and you need to fix it. I have a buzzer. No. I do. I have that buzzer. That gives a student two things. One, it makes people laugh. It does. And two, it lets them know that, yeah, that was really wrong. That wasn't just a little bit off. That was, oh boy. So that doesn't work for everybody. Some of the things that my friends do in class, I have other friends who are teachers, that I wouldn't do. Some of the things I do, they wouldn't do. Some of the things my teacher did in class, I don't do. Some of the things I do, he wouldn't do. It's the teacher has the skills, the knowledge, and their own personality and their own emphasis on whatever it is that they're going to teach. My particular emphasis is the internal workmanship, the understanding of what's going on, and all of the philosophy and science behind what we're doing. There's a lot. I'll be at philosophy class tomorrow. But that combination of physical effort, physical exercise, a rich philosophical tradition that supports those exercises, and the layers, the ability to always learn something more. That's what attracted me to the martial arts in the first place. Particularly the internal martial arts. I started with Tai Chi. Developing the internal workmanship. Nagel is foundation for Qigong class. We focus on that internal workmanship. We're not focused on so much applications and what I could do with this and how I might engage with that as we are in Tai Chi, Xingyi, Bagua, sword, Liuhabava, Baji. All of the internal arts ask us to focus on that internal workmanship. Not the physical outer bodybuilding. Shaolin asks us to develop that bodybuilding. It does. that external workmanship matters up to a point for everything we do in the internal arts. We're not trying to develop the resistance. We're trying to develop resilience, flexibility. That difference does not exclude basic body condition. We need to be able to move. We need to have the muscle coordination, muscle development, and the skills, the physical skills, to do the movements within range, our own range, within the extent of the movement. Wabu's flying. As I'm moving, I'm going to breathe in, breathe out. Settle. As I'm moving to open my arms, I want the whole body to come up. I want the whole body to move. I want to extend my arms as far as I can. As I settle back down, drop the wrist and sink. And keep going. And I'm going to stop there, pull up, and press down. Pull up through the crown of the head, and relax. It goes all the way down. Goes all the way down. It can. I stopped at the point where I was leaning forward way too much. Okay? I shouldn't lean forward. Being able to go up all the way up and down without leaning forward is a skill. It takes a tremendous amount of strength through the abs. It also takes a lot of strength through the legs, which I currently don't have. I have both, but not enough. I'll work on it. As I get that, development back, I used to be able to do that. I still lean forward a little bit, but not near as much as that. Okay, as I bring that back, so part of it is here, right here, through the hips, sink, 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 go down, go down. There we go. Turn the feet. Yeah, okay. At this point, I have to be able to sit back more than what I can support through my upper leg, the upper thigh here. Okay, so hips, thigh, open. There are strength building exercises for this. Doing this exercise, do this more, is the best way to develop that skill. As we work on developing these skills, the expectation that I should just be able to walk in the door and be able to do this, no. The understanding of how to do the movement, what am I doing in this movement, what should I do, and being able to do it are not the same thing. Being able to do whatever it is we're doing takes practice, it takes development, and it takes the effort that we need to apply. It doesn't have to be effort, work up sweat. No, we don't do that at all. We don't. The effort that needs to be applied, gradually, we develop that skill. It's not, and this is something that is extremely important for the students to understand. Everything we do is developmental. That means that even when we understand what we're doing, We still have to develop the physical capacity to do it. It's not magic. We have to do it. The more we do, the better we get. That's practice. As we teach how to encourage the student to practice. Come to class and practice, you meet some friends, you come to class and practice friends. But the student also has to internalize that practice. How to help the student do that? Large part of that was in this class. Paying attention to the movement, paying attention to the outer movement, paying attention to particular points, channels, meridians in a particular exercise, and applying the principles of the exercise to what we're doing. There are no hard, abrupt movements in Qigong. There aren't. Not in our Qigong, anyway. There's some hard Qigong that, yes, there are. But so I can't say it doesn't exist. In Wudang Qigong, there are no hard, abrupt movements. Everything is continuous and connected with the breath. That principle can be applied by a student at any level. And that is one of the keys to practice. Movement's connected to the breath. The breath is relaxed and continuous. And that requires that the movement be relaxed and continuous then, doesn't it? Helping the student make those connections so that the student begins to advance on their own is my goal. I want that. And personally, I think every teacher should want that. How far the student goes, what they do with it, how long they practice, all of those things are not something a teacher can decide. We can't. Can't. It's up to the student. The teacher needs to give the student enough, again, according to the level of the student, enough that the student can continue to practice on their own. Beginning student, connect the breath and the movement. Nice, regular breath, connect the breath and the movement. That's for the beginning student. Advanced student's supposed to know that. Advanced student now needs to start focusing on the expression of Qi, the expression of Jing, and how the channels and meridians are connected. Let me see your circuit. Let me see you. Let me see this. Let me see that you're able to do this. Show me. Pay attention to the Jiaji. Right here. Pay attention to the shape of your back. Pay attention to the wrist. Yeah. Pay attention to the wrist. That correction, I've given an advanced student that. Beginning student is not going to absorb. They will try. If there's a person that wants to learn, they'll try. But taking it in and being able to do something with it, it needs a couple more classes. Once that coordinated breath and movement is established, all sorts of other things can be established too. That's the key thing for this class today. This idea that as we breathe in, as we breathe out, the connections between the breath and the movement need to be well established and worked so that we're actively breathe in, breathe out. Actively breathing, actively extending the breath through the movement, and developing a greater capacity to do just that. Thank you for being here with me today. I will be back tomorrow with philosophy class. Bye.